So Facebook, hello Facebook, hello Instagram. We are going live for now. I am going to record a podcast. So you are going to see me motion a little bit towards the microphone. This is to make a better sound and all that jazz. I am literally sat on my bed and I am going to be discussing the three things that spending months in a hospital bed has taught me about isolation, and maybe you can get some nice takeaways too. So wonderful. What's up, my badass tribe? I hope that you guys are well. So today I've decided to discuss the three main things that spending months in a hospital bed has taught me about isolation. So if you do not know that fact about me, when I was 10, 11, and 12 years old, I was hospitalized to get some corrective surgery. So I'm born with dysplasia in my femurs and my knees, and that has created the necessity for me to get correction and corrective surgeries. So those surgeries were fairly invasive. They cut the top of my femur, they rotated them, they placed screws and metal plates, and they ended up having to remove them year in, year out. And this has taken about 3-4 years of rehabilitation work. And also, I've dislocated my knee after that back the year after, because I've also got dysplasia in my knee, and I also had a corrective surgery for my knee. So this has meant that I have spent month and month and month in a hospital bed, month and month and month in a wheelchair, month and month and month on crutches. Okay, so I have obviously been in my own isolation. Believe it or not, I've actually been alone in my bedroom. The only people I was seeing was my parents, the friends that were visiting me, sometimes my teacher from school that could come and bring me homework, and also my physio. So those are the people that I was seeing. And the second year of the surgery, what happened is they did both legs. So I have major scars on my legs as well. And because they did both legs, I ended up being completely immobile for about 6 months. So there was 3 months where I was literally in a hospital bed, and I was staying there in a hospital bed with. So I stayed about a couple of weeks in the hospital, let alone as well that I had septicemia at that time. And I spent 2 weeks at the hospital. Then they brought me back home, and I spent about 2.5 months at home recovering. So there was no school for me. I was homeschooled for the whole trimester. I was being at home, unable to walk, and I think I had to wait about another 6 weeks to be able to even move into my wheelchair. So it was not fun. And even the first time and the third time, even when I went from a bed into the crutches, I still was in isolation for pretty much a trimester of my school years, which basically have made me pretty much resilient to this kind of situation, right? So now we've got coronavirus, now we've got to stay home, and now I'm spending time in bed during my work, yeah, working from home. So I thought I'd be sharing with you what I've learned from being extremely isolated for months when I was in a hospital bed. So what happens when we are in a hospital bed and we can't move, right? There are several things that happen, which can also be basically happening with you. It's very clear that we are all in between four walls, yeah? So apart from seeing the people that you are spending time with, like your flatmate, your family, your husband, your wife, your children, that is pretty much much of the contact. Also, bear in mind, guys, that when I had those surgeries done on my legs, I ended up, it was not this time of the year. It was not when we all had smartphones and computers and internet. We had nothing. I had nothing. I was in bed for 3 months straight, and I did not have a single piece of tech to play with, right? Nothing. And being a circus performer and being a circus artist as well was the most frustrating thing, because I knew that I couldn't tour, I knew I couldn't train, right? So my biggest takeaways from here, from this experience that you guys can really take away with you, is number one, boredom is a construct, right? It's an absolute construct. I did say I've caught myself saying, "Oh God, I'm bored." It's a goddamn construct, guys. Boredom is not real. You only make yourself bored if you choose to. Okay, it's 2020. God damn it. We all have a smartphone. We all have a ton of books. We all have movies. We all have Netflix. If you tell me you are bored, this is just because you are lacking of creativity of doing something for yourself, right? So I'm thinking you might not have the discipline to do anything for yourself, because even if you are wanting to stay lazy and do nothing, that's not boredom. That's appreciating the time that you are taking for yourself, relaxing, resting, reading a book, enjoying the weather. If you have a garden, you're very lucky to enjoy a bit of weather outside and sun, especially at the moment. But boredom is not real, right? Boredom just comes from the fact that your brain is craving activities. So it's either craving movement, you need to move, it's craving some form of growth, so for you to create, to read a book, to watch a movie, to do something. But when I was in bed for months on end, as I was explaining, I had absolutely nothing. I had zilch. I did not have a phone. The phones didn't exist back then. I had no phone. I didn't have a TV in my bedroom. I literally had nothing, you guys. All I had was books and my whole imagination and doing my physio exercises. That's literally the only thing I was able to do when I was in my bed for 3 months. For 3 months on end, all I did was do my physio exercise, which I did not even want to do, but I had no goddamn excuse, yeah? So we all have no excuse to say we don't have the time to get certain things done, because we have the time right now. When I was in bed, and my physio would come and tell me, "Oh, you haven't done your physio exercise. Why?" I didn't have the time. I was lying there in bed, right? So if you're doing the same thing while you are in between four walls and you say, "I didn't have the time to work on my fitness, or I didn't have the time to write that book," then I'm sorry, but I'm calling that BS, right? You just didn't have the disciplines to just get up and do the shit. Get shit done. And it's fine. If you are resting, then appreciate the rest as well. But do not say, "I'm bored." Boredom is not real. All right, you're the only one that choose to be bored. That's because your brain and your body need some creativity. They need something. Yeah. So when you say you're bored, it means you haven't quite found the thing that you need to be doing. You haven't been spend time to build that mindfulness and that mindset around it, right? So my tip is, try and find something that you need to do. Try something that you find interesting. And if you want to stay lazy, then stay lazy, but build a mindfulness around the laziness. Yeah. Because as I said, lying down, I was bored out of my ass, let me tell you that. I was bored, I was lonely. It's normal. I was lying in bed, waiting in pain. On top of that, right? I was recovering from 2 major surgeries on my legs, and I was in pain. I was bored. I did not have phones. I didn't have computers. I didn't have a TV. I didn't have movies. All I had was books, my physio exercise. Yeah. So make sure that you are curing your boredom with something. Either appreciating the time, either appreciating the rest, or either using this time constructively. Takeaway number 2: being frustrated and angry is not going to change anything, right? So I think we all agree with that. Those are stupid emotions. No one wants to feel them. We all feel them, yeah? We all end up spending an entire day in a house and be like, "Oh my God, I have spent 8 hours in there. This is so frustrating. I'm so annoyed. This is too much. I need to get out." And that's just because obviously we've got our freedom removed, right? But is it making things better? Not really, right? moaning and being frustrated at the fact about something we can't change is not changing anything, right? So we need to absolutely let go of the control. I've learned that again because I was lying down in that goddamn bed, and of course I was frustrated. As I was saying, I was frustrated. I was in pain. I was annoyed. I was a teenager. I was not made to be in a bed for hours, for spending days, for spending like 3 months in isolation, away from my friends, away from school, away from training circus, and I had no choice, right? Did I did I get into a little bit of a depression? Yeah, of course it's depressing. It is depressing. But being angry and frustrated basically was not changing anything. And I think I kind of learned that very quickly. So I think that now in that situation, I'm pretty okay with it. I've learned how to shift my mindset. You need to shift your paradigm here and really start seeing it as an opportunity, right? So when I was teaching meditation last night, the things I was looking after was shifting your memory. So any memory of this situation right now that you find frustrating or distressing, try and associate three good things that have happened in this situation since we've been on lockdown and in isolation, and attach those positive memories to the experience. Yeah. So for me, being in a bed, in a hospital bed, obviously there's not many things I really want to remember about that. That's absolutely, you know, I don't think it was very interesting. However, the way I remember it for what it is today. It made me a very resilient person. And as I said, there are so many takeaways that I take now in this situation. And the fact that I don't find this situation right now, this lockdown, very extremely difficult and unbearable, I think is because of being in a hospital bed in much way worse conditions when I was a teenager and for months on end. So I think shifting your mindset here again is quite important. And because we are wired to think negatively as a survival instinct, okay, we tend to attach a lot of our emotions to negativity, right? And all the memories that we store are attached to emotion. So we don't necessarily remember the memory with accuracy and detail. What we remember it with is how it made us feel. And it's very important to try and work really hard on attaching positive emotions to memories and to experiences, because it takes 4 to 5 times more for your brain to attach positive emotions than attaching negative emotions as a survival instinct, right? So it is important as well to stay away from sensational journalism. Stay still anything that you feel might be too negative and unbearable for you, or make you annoyed and frustrated. The people going out, I know I get annoyed at that. The people still going out, being a bit careless, but there's nothing we can do about it. There is nothing that judging those people and apart from spreading awareness is going to do about it, right? So just getting that mindset and trying to bring positive elements as much as you can until you kind of get past the negative aspects of this current situation. Yeah. And finally, the third takeaway, the last thing I've learned from being stuck for months in a hospital bed when I was a teenager in pain is acceptance. Yeah. And that's a big one because, again, I was a teenager. I was growing. And then there was all these physical pains from the recovery. There was all this comparison, knowing that my friends are playing outside, knowing that my friends are all going to school, knowing that the circus is touring without me, knowing that I have to do a lot of physio exercises and do my homework from bed and do all these things. I ultimately do what you guys and what we do now is with scrolling on people's Instagram and people feed and seeing their lives as better lives. And don't get me wrong, when you are locked in a house, and again, when you are stuck in a hospital bed, everybody else's life looks so much goddamn better, yeah? There's someone who's going to have a garden. I have a garden, and I can understand that people are going to feel a bit envious of having a garden to play with. I am so lucky to have a garden, to have a rig, to be able to put my aerial equipment in there, and to play basically with all my equipment. But that doesn't necessarily mean that if I did not have these elements, I would have had to do without them. Accepting where you are right now is so important, especially accepting the emotions, accepting what you feel like is quite important. And from my memory, again, I knew all these things were happening. I knew that my friends were playing outside. I knew that I would have to start from square one, training back and touring the circus again. I was not even sure if that would happen, because it was so much work just getting back onto the horse. When you have both legs that have been sliced and you have to go into a wheelchair and you being bullied at school as well because you're in a wheelchair and your parents come and pick you up, it's not an easy experience. And accepting yourself and accepting your journey was something that I've had to definitely learn to do. It's not always been easy, yeah. But the only thing that I was annoyed at or hurt by was other people's reaction. I didn't really care for being in a wheelchair. I didn't really care or felt embarrassed to have had all these surgeries. I didn't really care if I was rolling around school in a wheelchair or on crutches. What hurt me is how people were reacting. And I thought that was the most difficult part because I accepted myself, but the other people did not. And as a result, you tend to compare yourself a lot and want to do certain things that are not like you, and it's not worth it. Okay, so when you find yourself struggling with that element, well, put your foot down, put the computer down, stay away from the social media, and start doing things for yourself. Start just go in the kitchen, cook a meal, read a book, have a nap, watch a movie, but stop scrolling because that is going to definitely affect what you are feeling actually. So if you're struggling to accept the situation and if you get anxiety from it, then just block everything out and just do something for yourself immediately, right? So that's it, guys. I think that's pretty much covering it all. Remember, in this situation, again, remember, in isolation, remember that boredom is not real, it's a construct. Yeah, it's your mind and your body craving activity or learning to appreciate the rest. Being frustrated, angry, or annoyed at something you can't change is not going to make the situation better for yourself. And finally, you have to learn to let go and accept the situation that you're in. Some people will be in better circumstances than you. Some people will be in worse circumstances than you. Just accept where you are. And if you are struggling to find this, just get out of the social media, take a break, and do something for yourself. And that is from someone who has spent months and years into a hospital bed in isolations back in the 90s, guys, with no phone, no computers, no Netflix. Yeah. So if I did it with a struggle, but if I did it, guys, we can do this together. Yeah. Please take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your creativity. Take care of your personal growth. Take care of your body. Take care of your rest. Yeah. Very important. Acceptance. All right. On that note, you guys, go and be your own kind of badass, please. Coronavirus or not, I know you can do it. You can do this together. Thank you so much, and bye.